From theweek.com. Court issues 10-day ban on honking in downtown Ottawa. A Canadian judge issued a 10-day injunction Monday banning protesting truckers from honking their horns in downtown Ottawa. Quote, "Tooting a horn is not an expression of any great thought I'm aware of," Justice Hugh McLean of the Ottawa Superior Court said. He also said the ban on honking would not rob demonstrators of their right to protest. A convoy of truckers and other demonstrators protesting Canada's COVID-19 policies entered on January 29th, where they've been for some time. Let me just answer, respond to this here. Justice Hugh McLean. Honking absolutely is an expression of a great thought. He doesn't understand memes, but more importantly, the state. This is Canada, by the way. It's not the US, so they can have their backwards garbage policies or whatever. The state should not be deciding what is someone's expression. What comes next? Now people are saying, I'll just yell honk. I'll just get a megaphone and just yell honk into it. Okay, well, I think this is ridiculous, but I will say it shows, the great honkening has worked. It's worked to the point where a court has had to issue one of the most ridiculous injunctions I've ever heard of. Honking is forbidden.
Sounds like they're going to try and get them out of there now in the next 10 days. They're like, let's buy ourselves a little time. We'll see if we can get them out. If they can't, 9.5 days from now, they'll issue another ban for 10 more days or whatever. Only 15 days to slow the spread of these truckers all around the country.
I just think it's funny because it's Canada. It's Canada. Honking is banned. It works on so many levels, right? First, people are posting memes where they're like, who would have thought the answer to Clown World would have been honking?
I know.
It's just so good. And then it's happening in Canada of all places, and they got the goose.
Yeah.
So it's just perfect. We live in some kind of constructed reality.
I gotta
simulation.
Say, let me put this on the table. I've been thinking a lot about this. Honking is it can be very. You could argue that it's a kind of noise. Weapons are real. You can destroy someone with excessive amounts of noise. You can hurt someone with that. The CIA knows it. They work with those things. So a lot of noise can be weaponized. Now, so apparently these people are honking and they're violating maybe civil rights, noise violations. But for the Canadian government to start to violate their human rights of like food and fuel seems like that's stoking the bear. Well, this is the great Canadian bear.
Well, this is a Canadian government that, as we know, was seizing their gasoline too. Like there's this uprising of workers and it's pissing off the people in power in Canada, and it seems that they'll go to great lengths in order to shut them up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. They're basically placing sanctions on these people, and then they're arguing that honking is an act of violence.
Honk.
Yeah,
that's
honk, honk.
I've been wondering.
Well, so I was going to say, Ian, I think you're not quite rolling a 1 on this one.
Okay, you got like a 3 or something.
No, maybe a 10.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a guy who's got a train horn, and people are laughing about it because it's triggering people. I'm like, dude, I got to be honest. The train horn might be a little much. Like honking your horn is honking your horn. Everybody's got one, but mounting a train horn to a vehicle and then blaring it, like. Yeah, I mean, that's not helping your cause out. Honking your horn is annoying. Protests, as AOC says, are supposed to make people uncomfortable. So honking your horn, hey, man, more power to you. If they say, hey, guy, you brought a train horn into downtown Ottawa, I'd be like, yeah, dude, that's like, come on, it's a little much, isn't it? I mean, it's funny, but...
It's when all the trucks come together, they create like a mega horn, which is like way worse than way louder than a train horn. I don't know what to do because I support these truckers implicitly.
I mean, if I'm thinking,
what is that?
I want to help the cause, but I will still acknowledge that this noise can be used as a form of violence, and so I understand kind of both sides of this.
Yeah,
but hold on. Like, what do you mean by violence?
Yeah, like it can harm. Like if I take a big loudspeaker and put it next to your head and do it, you'll be like and then it'll hurt your hearing, and then it might even start to make you angry, which makes you stressed.
It can be really annoying, but it's not like the truckers are going, he supports the mandates, get him, and then like putting their head next to the horn and honking so they go deaf. I mean, they're honking their horns in a way that makes people uncomfortable. You also have to consider is that these truckers themselves are here day in and day out, and it's going to get annoying to them on some level. So I think they can self-regulate here. I think it's insane that the Canadian government would tell them they're not able to express themselves in this way.
I could see if you're a citizen in Ottawa and living in downtown Ottawa and all day, every day, all you hear is honk, honk, honk. I could see how that would get annoying. At the same time, it's not like they're burning your buildings down like in other protests that we've seen before. So I could see how that would be annoying.
no,
But like,
did-
did the government step in like this, like in the summer of 2020 in Canada or in the United States?
No, because that would be fascism.
Well, how bad was the rioting in Canada though? I honestly don't know.
Well, the movement was everywhere.
yeah, but
It might not have been as bad as America, but
was Black Canadian Lives Matter like smashing windows and burning buildings and everything?
probably
like
not as bad as America. But the movement was, they
You
wouldn't.
wanna-
But like
See if you
it's
find anything?
again, it's the politics behind this. I don't think
Well,
I just searched
Yeah.
Ottawa on Twitter. I saw this video, I think yesterday, which is what brought this up in my mind. Is a guy in Ottawa got his video. He's like, "Hey guys, just so you know, this is what it's like all day," and it's like, just nonstop. So I understand. I would go
Fantastic.
freaking crazy if all of a sudden vaxxed or I'd support or unsupport, all of a sudden just maddening noise all around me.
yeah, I don't care. You want to know why?
the insurance companies will pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They'll
if you
take care
get
of
if you
it.
get ear damage, you got insurance. What's the problem?
it's a language of the unheard.
Is
The honk.
Medical insurance
That's
will pay
that's
for it.
not
Yeah, yeah.
actually. I don't agree with that. I
Yeah,
think
no,
that's a
no,
ridiculous
I'm kidding.
notion.
Yeah.
But I
kidding.
don't actually care about the discomfort of these people, because as the government was ruling by decree, they sat back and said sure. And then when the government started cracking down on the truckers, imposing will by decree on them, and the truckers said stop, the people sat in their homes and said, hey, I'm not getting involved. I don't care they're doing it to you. In fact, I'll vote for them and empower them and pay them money and ensure they can keep putting their boot on your neck. And then the truckers said, I'm going to toot.
Yeah.
I'm a honk honk. And now they're like, stop honking. No, sorry, buddy.
And Ian, I mean, you're absolutely right that it is extremely annoying. And if these people were outside of my window honking, I would be annoyed as well. But at the same time, if it's a question of whether we're going to allow a group of people to be annoyed or allow a group of people to have their rights violated, I'm going to choose to
Yeah.
let those people be annoyed.
Yeah, you said that was pretty insightful. What you said just a second ago, Tim, about how, like, because I'm thinking of now the German citizens when they supported, just allowed the Nazis to do their thing and just stood by and let it happen. When the Allied troops came in there, they didn't. Those people, they had to sit by and listen to the honking. They weren't allowed to be like, stop. You sit by and watch tyranny take hold. Get ready to face some repercussions.
It's not just that. It's a lot of these people are voting in these politicians over and over again. Like they vote for Trudeau. They vote for the people who are putting in place these mandates. So it's like, listen, we want you to hear the repercussions of your actions. Elections have consequences. Ottawa votes for these people. I'm sorry. You know what's funny? I'll tell you this. The people who live in Ottawa who don't vote for this are outside dancing in the streets, cheering on the trucks and the protests. That's the people who live in Ottawa. I'm not going to pretend like I live there. I've watched some of the live streams. I watched Viva Fry. He's got a great stream. And I've seen a lot of the videos. And there's people with Canadian flags jumping up and down. They're celebrating. These are people who live in the city. The people who are screaming and complaining about the honking are the people who did vote for Trudeau and don't support the truckers. I don't care if you come out and say that you voted for Joe Biden, I'm going to be like, okay, well, now you're going to be uncomfortable for having supported a man who's caused all of these problems for us. The death of the civilians in Afghanistan, the rising gas prices, the failing economy. There's some good things about the economy, but you can't come out and be like, we lost 2 million jobs and brought back 1.5, so we're doing great. Like, no, you're doing bad. And if you want to come out and be like, you supported him, then I'll be like, prepare to be uncomfortable as I protest the guy you voted in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that when you're looking at this situation and these mandates and the fact that these people were completely in favor of them and that's resulted in these protests and now they're really upset by the honking, you kind of have to put it in perspective. Ultimately, what's going to make their lives worse? The hyperinflation, which is occurring because we decided to print trillions of dollars, the broken supply chains, the fact that it's more difficult to get food.
Different country.
And it's true, but also our economies are really interconnected. And if the dollar isn't doing as strongly and we're not trading with them as much, or the supply chain is broken down in our country, that's going to affect their lives too. And a couple horns honking outside your window day in and day out for as long as this protest lasts is not going to have as much of a negative effect on their lives in the long term.
The other thing you have to think about is like the people doing the honking and the protesting. These are the people who during the pandemic, while all them were staying inside, these were the people who were, bringing you your packages to your door,
Yep.
bringing the supplies everywhere.
Yeah.
That was probably more annoying than just hearing some honks every day. I'm sure there are lots.
Agreed.
Dude, it's amazing. These are people who sit inside, vote for politicians who lock everything down, and then demand the government just gives them money.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from this girl, and I don't remember who, but it was like a journalist, and she was like, who do we have to appeal to save us from this, was basically the tweet. And I'm like, there's a mindset in humanity of like, where is daddy to save me? Who's going to come fix this? And it's like, dude, you fix it. It's you.
Seriously. These people love to be like, I'm going to vote for the authority to do whatever they want. Then go and sit back and say, solve my problems for me. That vote causes problems for everybody else who are now dancing in the street and honking horns, not even smashing windows or anything like that. And now these people are crying about it. Dude, I have very little sympathy. I'm sorry, man. That's just reality. These people need to live in the real world. You know, we've talked about the fourth turning. We've talked about, you know, hard times make strong men make good times weak men, etc. And this is the problem with a lot of these people who live in these big cities. They want everything done for them. They get paid ridiculous salaries for ridiculous jobs. Not everybody, but a lot of them. The people, like in New York, it's really bad, but there's a lot of city jobs that make no sense. And they've just not experienced any real hardship. This is the first time. I think about how crazy this is. There's that video of the guy who looks like the pregnant man emoji. Have you seen this? He's wearing the blue jacket and he's got like the belly. So people have put the pregnant man emoji on him. And he's like, I can't sleep. I'm losing my mind or whatever. And it's like, bro, calm down. You know, this is the reason why I have very little sympathy is probably because I lived on a busy street and I hear honking all day, every day, nonstop. But I've also experienced, you know, like actual hardship. And so when I hear people screaming and crying about honking, I'm like, geez.
Yeah.
Where did they grow up? Inside like a fluffy padded room that was like
Basically.
pastel colors with animals painted on the wall?
Well,
The West.
Well, that's a very interesting point because Ottawa is one of the richest cities in Canada. And so for months, at least in the United States, you had BLM burning down some of the most impoverished neighborhoods in the country and making life impossible for the people who lived there. And our media thought that that was just fine. But now when working class people go into an upper class neighborhood and honk their horns too loudly for too long, it's a nightmare.
I will say, as much as it is a different country, our culture completely overlaps.
Exactly.
So you've got American leftist journalists who are on the side of the government of Canada, and then you've got American, you know, libertarian, conservative, moderate, post-liberals who are on the side of the great honkening. I genuinely believe, you know, 90+% of people support the honkening. You know, you're never going to convince me because I look at the comments on Reddit. Even the astroturfing isn't working, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. I just won't believe that actual grassroots regular leftists. I don't mean online personalities, regular people. That if you go to them and say, "How do you feel about the workers rising up?" They'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." How do you feel about the truckers rising up? Glad they're rising up against the establishment.
Yeah, no, and that's sort of my point. Even though, yes, obviously this is occurring in a different country, our media is going to empathize with the upper class people who are being inconvenienced in Canada more so than they would lower class people in the United States having their actual business burnt down.
Well, it goes to show. It goes to show that the media speaks for the interests of, you know, the ruling class and the powerful. And even in Canada, where the media is actually controlled by the government, like the media are actual government entities. So, you know, it's in that case they're actually on the side of the government. And like I was looking at some of the coverage in Canadian media, and I was like, yeah, you can really tell.
Yeah,
it's amazing. One of the first articles we read on the show, it was like the far right group that has been known for vandalism and stealing food from the homeless.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, that's just not true.
Now
there's this story. Did you guys hear about these guys trying to break into a building and burn it down with people inside?
No.
And these left-wing activists, many Americans, they're, well, quote unquote journalists, are trying to claim that it's definitive and proven. Bro, it's a video of two guys. We don't know who they are. They walk in a building, set fire something on the ground, and then tape the door shut and leave. That's crazy. Arrest those guys.
Yeah,
Find out who they are.
absolutely.
But then they're just like, this proves it. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.